George Key is represented by...
I'm saddened today to think of those who did not survive and whose families will forever live with the knowledge that their death and suffering was preventable.
And trust me, this incident that we're going to visit today was very much preventable. It happened over a 40-year period, and trust me, many black persons today, many people nowadays, are quite weary of taking the COVID vaccine, and this is just one of the things in US history that shows why people are kind of skeptical to take anything from the government or any government promoted program. And it's such a shame to know that probably over 400 black people had to suffer like this to domestic terrorists. And it's so sad that the United States many times love to say that they're the land of the free and the home of the brave. Yet still, some things happen in their country that can only leave you in shock and in awe. And this is just one such thing that happened, as I said, over a 40-year period.
Mr. President.
See? President is even there. And this is where Bill Clinton, honestly, will be seen as a black man's president. For this horrific thing that the government supported, he apologized for it. And before we look at this incident, we're just going to listen to the apology, and then we go straight into this horrific incident that happened not too long ago.
What was done cannot be undone, but we can end the silence. We can stop turning our heads away. We can look at you in the eye and finally say, on behalf of the American people, what the United States government did was shameful.
True.
And I am sorry.
And trust me, guys, this thing that we're going to look at today, it's even upsetting to know. Trust me, to know that people could actually do their own. But I'm going to get into the story, so just stay tuned and let's see how it goes. In 1932, the world still didn't know much about this social disgrace known as syphilis. Syphilis has been around from the time of Columbus, and by 1932, it was a social problem. And so, the United States, through the PHS, which is the Public Health Service, was charged in studying how to treat syphilis. So the study began then in 1932. So in 1932, the Public Health Service, working with the Tuskegee Institute, began a study to record the natural history of syphilis in hopes of justifying treatment programs for blacks. It was called the Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in Negro Male. And Tuskegee is a place in Alabama, and that place, as you would guess, in 1932 was poverty stricken, and in 1932 America was reeling from the Great Depression. So many persons would jump at this opportunity to think they would get extra cash, but the sad truth, it wouldn't be so. The study initially involved 600 black men, 399 with syphilis and 201 who didn't have the disease. The study was conducted without the benefit of patients' informed consent. Researchers told the men they were being treated for bad blood, a local term used to describe several ailments which included anemia, fatigue, and of course, syphilis. In truth, they did not receive the proper treatment needed to cure their illnesses. In exchange for taking part in the study, the men received free medical exams, free meals, and of course, hear this part, burial insurance. Although originally projected to last 6 months, the Tuskegee study lasted for 40 whole years. So what went wrong? In July 1972, an Associated Press story about the study caused a public outcry that led the Assistant Secretary for Health and Scientific Affairs to appoint an ad hoc advisory panel to review the study. The panel had 9 members from the fields of medicine, law, religion, labor, education, health administration, and public affairs. The panel found that the men had agreed freely to be examined and treated. However, there was no evidence that researchers had informed them of the study or its real purpose. In fact, the men had been misled and had not been given all the facts required to provide informed consent. So basically they were lied to. The men were never given adequate treatment for their disease, even when penicillin became the drug of choice for syphilis in 1947. Researchers did not offer it to the subjects. The advisory panel found nothing to show that the subjects were ever given the chance of quitting the study, even when this new highly effective treatment became widely used. The study ends and repatriation begins. This was a very touchy issue. The advisory panel concluded that the Tuskegee study was ethically unjustified. The knowledge gained was sparse when compared with the risk the study posed for its subjects. In October 1972, the panel advised stopping, I repeat, stopping the study at once. A month later, the Assistant Secretary for Health and Scientific Affairs announced the end of the study. In the summer of 1973, a class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of the study participants and their families. In 1974, a $10 million out-of-court settlement was reached. And you know the funny thing, I just believe that if they went to court, that amount would have been much more. Trust me. So they reached a settlement of $10 million out of court. And a part of the settlement would see the US government giving lifetime medical benefits and burial services to all living participants. The Tuskegee Health Benefit Program, THBP, was established to provide these services. In 1975, wives, widows, and offsprings were added to the program. In 1995, the program was expanded to include health as well as medical benefits. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention was given responsibility for the program, where it remains today in the National Center for HIV/AIDS, Viral Hepatitis, STD and TB Prevention. The last study participant died in January 2004. The last widow receiving these benefits died in January 2009. And currently, there are 11 offspring receiving medical and health benefits. So, it's just sad to know that this could have really happened to blacks at that time. Just when we thought slavery was enough, these persons were tricked, lied to, misled, given no chance or given no opportunity to say or to know what they would have been a part of. And so many persons who could have been living were subjected to these conditions and lived a very horrible life, died horribly, while others watched. And even in 1947, when penicillin came into play, nothing was done. So it's quite sad to see that the government of the United States of America, with all their power, can cast labels on other countries about being terrorists, about denying human rights, when they themselves have been some of the biggest perpetrators of the violations of human rights globally and also in their own borders. So thank you again everyone for listening, and do remember to like, comment. What do you think about this? Do you think America should be reminded of this dark history? Should it be swept under the carpet as just stupidity of 1930s Americans? What do you say about this? So until then guys, be good, be safe, and continue the conversation in the comment section, and of course, walk good.